This is The Real Guardian. I want to tell you all thank you for the 100 subs and all the support you've shown over the past few hours. It has been very, very helpful to me. I honestly don't know what I'd do without it. My apologies, I had a text. I've decided I kind of want to do a video opening up about myself because I've kind of had one of the worst days I've had in a long, long time. Now, I don't know whether my story's sad or depressing, but this story is just the past 3 years. And basically, it pretty much starts with shortly after my mom and dad got divorced. It was honestly a good thing for them, especially for my dad, being the jerk he is the best way to put it. You know, in recent months, I've learned to forgive him due to the fact he's had cancer. And honestly, it's best to forgive and forget at that point. So, to start it all off, the story starts shortly after I had moved. I spent about 3 months getting a job. I had finally gotten one, and had finally started in the workforce. My mom, who had been supporting me my whole life and been really taking care of me and truly loved me and helped through my disability, which I'll explain it later. Shortly thereafter, about within the first 2 months of me getting the job, her health declined so rapidly we had to rush her to the emergency room. She underwent multiple surgeries and she's now lost the ability to even walk. And during that whole time, I was working and she was at a rehabilitation home, trying to get back to the ability to walk. But during that whole remaining year and part of the first year, it wasn't looking good at that time. She Her health was still bad, but at least it wasn't as bad as that freak out. But then something bad happened to me. I reported harassment at my workplace, and apparently you're not supposed to do that because I was fired for it. And because where I lived and because of how I signed a contract to work from home, I had no legal footing. It's the good thing about business having good lawyers. So I had no legal footing there, and I tried unemployment, but I wasn't granted it, and I can't remember the reason why. So I decided, since my mom was coming home about a week after I was fired, I would start taking care of her. I spent the first 2 months just focusing on taking care of her and trying to make her better. And I did my best I could, but I will admit I was fighting some pretty bad depression. And I kept telling myself I had to keep going. I had to keep going. This is where my own disability and issues come in. I generally never talk about it because I feel like I get two reactions. Either I get pity or get shown or get treated like I'm a moron. And my disability personally is autism. I've had it my whole life, and my mom, when she discovered I had it, worked with me by teaching me the best philosophy ever taught. One day I'm going to be gone, and you need to know how to fit in with society, keep a job, and live your own life, because I won't be here for you. And she fought for me every step of the way for my full life up until even right now. She has fought for me. She has stand by me. She has helped me become the person I am today. And to be honest, without her, I wouldn't be the person I am today. Hell, I even have troubles doing just recording my own voice because I find it not only creepy, but I find it nerve wracking. But because of what I've been doing lately, I've been getting better and better at it. And I'm proud of myself. But the whole reason I have to explain this is that I spent the following year and a half being rejected. So it's been 2 years and a half now, the 3 years I'm talking about this. Rejected. for every possible living excuse why I could not be hired and I never got an interview. To many of you, you think, oh, it's a good reason. No. I after a while, and what started my downward spiral to a depression I almost thought there'd be no end of, was because it was my autism. I've known people that just got out of high school recently that are friends of mine, because I've kept touch with some of them that were way younger than me, who were just looking for part-time work and got like 10 interviews and already had a job. And I spent a year and a half getting nothing. I fought so long and hard with my autism to fit in that, to be honest, the last doctor that has ever treated me had to relook through my medical record, my full history, twice to know I was actually autistic. He told me, now that I see you sit in front of me, I can see some of those tics. But you have done such an amazing job, you're a mother, that I would never guess it. Sorry, light sneeze. I would never guess it, he said. You've done an amazing job, and your mother and you should be proud of you. To the point where I wish I could have met you on day one, so I could have slowly studied you over the years, and maybe even write a paper so I could have helped more autistic people. But it's what happens with life. No one would have known you would become like this, to be honest. And I was eternally grateful for those words. But after realizing the whole reason I couldn't even get an interview, let alone get my foot in the door, was because of my autism. Because they took one look at it, because most of these employees or places I applied to made it perfectly clear that I needed to be 100% honest about any of my medical history. And if I wasn't and they discovered it, they would fire me, and worst case scenario, might even pursue me legally. And as someone who, in the current state of that year and a half, has been nonstop taking care of a disabled person whose health, my own mother's health, was rapidly declining again. And I'll get to that here in a little bit. It got to the point where her health, by the end of, once I get to that point, which, as I said, was rapidly declining. And I was fighting every day trying to get a job again, trying to get money in the house, because I was smart enough over that year. I put enough in savings that somehow through really smart shortcuts and frugalness, I got it to last that long. But at that point, I had nothing left. We basically have no money. All our money goes into paying our bills and just our groceries. And personally, now we're dealing with possible legal issues that we have no money to pay for. So part of the reason I have to take the week off, by the way, you guys, is I have to find a way to either get some kind of extension or talk to somebody to get a hold of somebody else so that they'll start looking at our case and issues so that we can start getting it resolved. This is how I'm going to explain it a little bit further. But after a year and a half of just not getting rejection, I honestly just fell in a depression so great that, as I've said before, I thought I'd never get out of it. And for the first 2 months of that year and a half, I just didn't know what to do. I lost all drive. The only thing I had left was taking care of my mom, but her health was getting worse and worse. And there's nothing I could do, and it made me feel even more defeated. So that was a huge thing. And I started watching stuff called What Ifs. I don't know why. I just found a What If video one day and started watching it and really enjoyed the content. And over time, I found out that a lot of people write scripts for these What Ifs. And by the end of that second year, which was about last year, I decided, hey, I could do something like this. I could do YouTube. I like to write, and it's one of the few things that makes me happy and makes me feel like I'm not depressed. So I started writing my first script. And in the first script I ever wrote, I shortly started the channel and I got finished. And for anyone that knows, there was like a 3-week, anyone that even remembers the channel, even if you only watched the first video a little bit, I was gone for 3 weeks because my mother's health declined that bad. To the point where about a week ago, it got so bad that about 3 days ago, my mother's lost up lost the ability to even sit up and get in her wheelchair, and then her health got so bad that she's been in the hospital for 3 days recently. And the only way I've been able to cope with it was writing, and I ended up writing the what ifs you guys currently enjoy, like the Naruto and the Xenoblade. And I've been doing my best and posting a lot more because of it. But to be honest, after going through all of that, it just feels like my life is getting even harder and harder. And I'm trying my best here to be the better person I can be. And to be honest, I'm grateful for the 100 subs and all of your support. It's really kept me from going down the rabbit hole. But today's been one of the worst days I've had in a long time. My own family decided that it was best to kick me in the rabbit hole again. But I decided there was one thing I could do, which was keep your support in the back of my mind and just hang on for dear life. And right now, that's what I'm doing, hanging on for dear life, to be honest. I'm so grateful for everything, and I'm planning to do a lot of stuff for the What If series. I've kind of opened up a bit about myself. If you guys would like to learn more about me, I wouldn't mind talking some more later, maybe when I have another bad day. Maybe open a little bit more about my past. So, I hope you guys enjoyed this. I'm going to talk about what I need to discuss about what I'm planning to do. For the 100 subs, I've decided to do two things. I'm going to bring one of the WEF series I already have on the channel. I'm going to do one for the 100 sub. And then I'm going to do a new one. I'm at a three-way battle with which one I want to do. But if you've watched it to the end, I know you watched it to the end. I want you guys to leave a comment down below what kind of what if you maybe want to see me do. And maybe you guys can give me a good idea for me to do a new what if. Since I am kind of in a three-way gridlock with the ones I'm thinking about doing. And finally, since I love writing, I've been thinking maybe I should write my own material on books. Sorry if you hear my dog. He needs his attention right now. My own material in books. And that's something else I'd like your guys' opinion on that. If I could get to the point where I could one day finish writing a whole novel, would you guys want me to see about getting it to where it's posted? I'm warning you, the grammar, the punctuation would be completely awful. But I would be able to start doing things I love more. I'm sorry if this story of my life just for 3 years is so depressing, but it's thanks to you guys that I'm finally getting out of that rut. And I'm hanging on dear life right now, but I know as long as I have YouTube right now with all this writing, I'm going somewhere. Now, don't forget that I have a Patreon, and after I get off from the week, maybe I might add a few more days, I'll start adding stuff to the Patreon. So to anyone that read it all the way to the end, I'll leave the Patreon link in the description. And I hope you guys have a good day. This is The Real Guardian, signing off.